Hi everyone, it's Nat here. Hope you're all doing okay. So it's my project for Aunty Vera Scrap and Craft for April. Now the theme is the life within the seed. So I received these beautiful papers that you would have seen in my unboxing. They're the Garden Grove collection. And I'd love to start utilising these in my next project. So I'll just show you real quickly. You can see in my flip through, I show both sides and everything, and you'll see them more as I cut them up, but they're the most glorious papers. So I'm really looking forward to using those. Now, something I haven't done yet is make a little golden book journal. So I thought, why not? It's, you know, that time of the year, and a lot of us won't be able to go out and, you know, see family and that for Easter, but there's no reason why we can't make things while we're stuck at home. Why not craft with the kids and make some beautiful Easter things? So I've decided to use this awesome book, Home for a Bunny. So these are secondhand books that I've picked up along the way. It's got a little bit of a nick in the cover, but that doesn't matter. This one's a newer one. 1989, but it's got the most glorious pictures in it, and I think that the papers in the Bo Bunny Garden Grove collection will suit this perfectly, the florals. So I want to use some in that. And then I thought, well, a lot of people are homeschooling and everything, or stuck at home with the kids anyway, so it's a really great time to get crafting with the kids, just to break up the boredom. Give them something to do. So why not mum make one and then get together and make one for the kids as well. So I decided on this one, which has a bit of a stain there, so I've got to give it a good clean, but it's the Golden Egg book. It's a very old one, this one, but I thought this would be perfect for the kids. So this one's like 1973, but again, very cute pictures and bright and cheerful. Well, sort of cheerful. The rabbit doesn't look very cheerful there. So that's my plan with these two books and the beautiful papers. So with this little golden book, I'm trying to remove the foil that's on the spine so that I can use it in my project. I started trying with the older one, but that doesn't seem to want to come off in a hurry, so I'll persevere and try for a little bit longer afterwards, but I might need to leave that on, which isn't a problem really. So I'll just show you. I've got my heat tool here. So it's a bit noisy, but I'm just running it back and forth along here, and it just melts the glue. And you see it's coming off quite easily. There. So with these newer ones, it's quite easy to get the foil off like that. So now I've managed to take the foil off of this newer little golden book. It's time to take out the staples. So it has two staples, one there and the other one there. So you've got to gently prise the ends up and then try and pull the staples out, which sometimes is easier said than done, I've been told. I have a nail file, so we'll try and dig under with that first. That's our two staples out, and then we should be able to just take it apart. So there's the front and back, and they usually have two signatures. There's one, there's two, and as I've said before, signatures are a group of pages. Most books come with groups of pages that are put together. So this signature has 1, 2, 3 folded pages. And then the other one would have 3 folded pages as well. So now I've got my little golden books all taken apart. I'll just show you the other one. So So yep, I could not get the foil off of this one, so I just pulled the staples out, and that took a bit of wriggling and jiggling to do. The ones in here were completely rusted, so I had to get the pliers to them and pull them out. This one has 3 signatures, so it's a bit more than the newer one. So I'm going to put this one to the side for the moment, and we'll just work on getting the pages ready for this one first. So I want to use some of these beautiful bow bunny papers, and I've decided that I'll use 2 for each signature, so that's 4 sheets. So I'm going to use Ambience, which is this one which is Blanket, this one which is Flutter, for obvious reasons, beautiful butterflies. And then Lovely, this one is, which it is very lovely. So I think they will go really good with this one. So what I should do first is just measure the height of the pages, because I want them to be quite similar. So in inches, we're looking at 8 inches. So we've just got to measure how long they are. So of course they're 12 inches. So we'll score at 6. Alright, so now I just want to fold these up. So that's going to be a nice start to our signatures. So we've cut all the beautiful papers that we're going to use in our little golden books. But as you can see, there's a bit of difference in the size of the book pages and some other papers that I've collected to go in there compared to the scrapbooking paper, and I wanted a bit more uniform. So I've collected heaps of different sorts of pages, old exercise book pages. These are coloured pages I got out of a book from the recycling. I've got some Easter gift bags in there. Painty papers. I think a lady named Bev gifted me a whole heap of these, which was awesome, and that fits in there nicely. Graph paper. I've still got to hunt up a few more pages to go in, some more painty papers. And this is leftover paper from when I painted some eggs for my first project for April. It's nice and colourful, so that will probably sit in the middle there. So the next thing I want to do is start cutting down the actual book pages so that they fit a bit better. And then I'll cut down all the other papers to match as well. So like I said, I want them about as wide as what the scrapbooking paper is, and I know that that's 6 inches across. So yep, 6 inches across. So we want it maybe a millimetre less than 6 inches across, so it fits in there nicely. So people, you know, when they want to shorten these pages, which they often do, there's a whole lot of different techniques. Sometimes they fold this side in and use that as a lever to make another page, or they open it up and fold these ends in, which I don't really like. So I'm just going to cut it down because these edges don't have very much detail, so I can get away with cutting a bit down there. So I'll get that to the 6 inch mark. That looks pretty good, and it just misses cutting off any of our beautiful picture. Now I'm not going to waste this bit either because we have to join this back together, and the way I like to do it is with a paper hinge like that. So a lot of the time people use washi tape, or you can use fabric, but I'm just going to use these since they're the right size. I'm just going to cut them down a little bit. So I'll just get it in there to about where I want it. Try and get it straight-ish. And that gives me a nice little paper hinge. You can make them with any bit of paper and just fold it in half. And then we've got to put our pages back together. So you just got to make sure you get them the right way around. So that's our front page, and that's the one that goes towards the back. So what we want to do is stick them on the inside of our hinge like that. So I just glue one of the inner edges. Move my page out of the way a bit. Then I grab my page and make sure we've got it the right way, and I stick that just down to where the fold is, in the middle there. Just like that. Make sure that our seam can fold over all right. And then I'll just run my bone folder across. And then what I like to do is we'll use we want to get the pages lined up, so I'll use the line that runs across my mat here to make sure that my pages are straight when I put them on. So I put that on that way. Let's grab some more glue. So then when you close it up, it looks like that. You can see the hinge there, but it doesn't look bad. I quite like the way it looks. So now we've got our pages shortened and ready to put in. So now I've just got to go through and do the rest of the pages. So now we've got the covers apart, it is time to reinforce them. Because I'm not cutting them down, you'll see with wear and tear there's a groove there, so that the book opens like that. Now we don't want it to bend there, so I've looked at all different ways of doing this, but I think what I'm going to do is just use some chipboard, or it's the back of a pad. This is a paper pad. So I've cut that to 2 centimeters width, and then the same height as the book. And I'm going to stick that on the end there just to reinforce the covers. So I'll do that with the front and back of both of my covers. Okay, so that's the 4 covers stabilised now. Now this book only had 2 signatures, so I'm not making it as wide as my other one. So for this one I did a spine that's about 1.5 inches wide. So, and I just made it the height of the book. The same with this one, although this one I think I'm going to have to cut down a bit because this, yeah, just a tad. So, and this one I made 2 inches wide because we've got 3 signatures in this book. Now I've used recycled chipboard, that's why it's got all this messy stuff on it. This was a journal that I bought in the second-hand shop. So I have my front and back cover here, and I have my 2-inch spine piece there. Now, a lot of people use Tyvek for this. I don't have any Tyvek, so I am just going to use some masking tape to hold all this in place, and then use fabric over the top to keep it all together. So basically I am using my grid board underneath to make sure that the top of all my pieces is even, and I've left a little gap, just a couple of millimeters in between the covers and the spine, just so that the cover pieces can turn, so you can fold them up and down without them getting stuck on the spine. So now we'll just stick that down with some masking tape. So you can see with the gaps, they fold up nicely. So I can probably just fold these edges over. So for my next step, I need to cover my spine with some fabric. So I've chosen this beautiful floral fabric, and I have cut it just to cover the cardboard that we've strengthened the front and back cover with, so that it will sit neatly just over the top there like that. So now I've just got to stick that down. So I will start with, let's just check the length of it because we want it to go all the way around. So that's going to be pretty good. So that's all right. So what we might do is start by folding this bit over like that. And now what I do is get my plastic ruler and just rub it in the grooves of the spine sides. It just makes it neater and it helps when you're opening and shutting the pages. That's that part done. Then we've got to stick it up here. So I'll turn it over like this. You've got to be careful with your fabrics because a lot of the time the glue can show through, especially if you put a bit too much down. So I always do a tester. I just use some paper here and just to put some glue on it and then put my fabric down just to test if the glue's going to show through too much. So if you see, it still closes nicely and the back's nice and neat as well. So now we've just got to use the fine tip glue to stick these little bits down. So that's that one with the spine all covered now. Looks a lot better on the inside and it covers up the chipboard nicely. That's the outside. So it does cover up the H a bit. I mean, I could have cut it a bit shorter this side, but I don't mind. You can still see what it's going to say there. And I just love the way that that material looks with the cover. Now, I did the other one last night. I thought it's good to do two at once and try this one before I do the one on camera, just so I know that it works. I will be sewing the signatures straight into the spine. So I've created templates for both of my journals. I just cut the piece of paper the width and length of the spine. And then this one's having 3 signatures. So the first signature is going to be bang in the middle of the spine. And then I just measure a couple of lines, even distances away from that middle one for my other 2 signatures. There's no golden rule. You just sort of think about leaving enough room for the pages either side. So if your signature's going in the middle there, you want an even amount of space either side for spread of the pages. And the same with these signatures. So I've done that, and then I measured even spacings for doing a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. So it's like the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. You've just got a couple more stitches. So, and I'll be adding buttons to the spine as well. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So it's my first time doing this method or little golden book at all. So it's a learning curve for me as well. So first things first is I've got my awl here, and I'm just going to punch some holes through the spine. So I've got some cardboard that's layered. It's packaging. So it's got a good few layers there, so I can afford to go through that and into my cutting mat. So I just lay this on there, and I'll start with the middle, why not? And just carefully go through each one of my dots. Now this template will be used for this as well as in my actual signatures to create the holes, and that way we know they'll match with these holes. So there's our holes punched, so then we can take our clips off. Now I always put a little T at the top of my template. So I know that when I put this into my signatures, this end has to go up the top, and then that's the way we sew it into the book. So I have my cover here, my little golden book, and I've organised my buttons. I will turn you and you can see my buttons. Just there. I've lined them up ready to go. Hopefully I won't bump them while I'm doing this and make a big mess. I thought it might be easy if I get them in the order that I want to put them on my spine when I sew the signatures in. So the first thing I've got to do is grab the template that I used to put the holes in the spine with, because we're going to use that to put the holes in our signatures. So now I just want to fold it in half along that middle line. So I'm going to grab my ruler to help me do that. And this will be our guide to punch the holes into the signatures. And then we'll grab our first signature, which is this one. And we'll find the middle of it. Now, it's always good to check that all your pages are up the right way and they're situated where you want them before you do this next part. So I'll find the middle. And I'll put my little template in, and I'll put the little T that's up the top there at the top of our book. I'll make sure that it's sort of flush. Now I'm going to use a ruler just to press down to bring all the pages together. And then I get my clips, and I'm just going to clip on one side up the top to hold the template with the pages. Like that. And then I do one on the opposite side down the bottom. Like that. And then I just hold it together a bit and grab my awl and go through the holes that I have there. So we'll start in the middle first. Now we want to take our template off, so I basically just move the clips up a bit so they're still holding the page together, but we can remove our little template. So that means this first signature is ready to sew in, so we'll take away our cardboard. So I've got my big needle here and I've doubled it over. So so I'm going to start from the inside of the book and go through the middle. It's easier if you hold the pages together a bit. Now what I'm finding helps at this stage, because you don't want to pull this through, so what I do is attach it with the clip up the top here, the tail of the thread, and it just holds it for me. Now we want to find our middle hole here on the spine and just pull it through like that. Now time to start with some buttons. This is where it gets fiddly. Alright, so I've got my first button, so I'm going to put my needle through the bottom hole from the underneath, and then I'll put it down through the top hole like that. Then I'll just push it down so it sits against the book. Now I'll show you once I've put these. Are we doing 2 with this one? Yes, we are doing 2. So the next one I'm going to do is this green bow tie. Again, up through the bottom hole and then down through the top hole. Now I'm going to go through the next hole up on this side from the middle, like that. And I'll get it through here, then I'll show you what the buttons look like. So just make sure we get it through the middle. Yep. So just hold on to the signature so you can see the buttons there. Now at this stage it's good just to make sure that they're sitting the way you want them, because sometimes they can twist around that way. So before you tighten everything up, you want to make sure they're sitting the way you want them. So that's those 2 buttons on. So I'll continue doing this side and show you, and then I will do the rest off camera and show you the finished product. And you make sure that you don't catch the cotton when you do it, or else it makes it really hard to tighten up in the end. And then back through that middle hole. Well, not the middle hole, but the one that we did before. Now this time we take it down past the middle to the second to bottom hole down here. So now we go back through the middle hole. Don't think I've caught the thread there. And then back through this middle of the signature. Again, try not to catch the threads. Now this is where I can take my needle off. Now we want the tail, one end of this middle thread, and this other bit on the other side of the middle thread, or else when you tie your knot, the knot can just get pulled through and it can all come apart. So you make sure you've got one end on each side of this before you tie your knot. Now you don't want to tie yet, because we need to tighten. The best way to tighten, well, first I'll just take that off now. Check that your buttons are all in the direction that you want, and you can slip them up and down to move them where you want as well, which I'll worry about that more afterwards, because right now I just want to tighten up my threads. So I make sure my buttons are sort of in the middle, so I've got a bit of leeway of thread either side, so I can pull them and manoeuvre them a bit. So what we're going to do is pull this up, and it will tighten this middle string a bit. and then I'll find the corresponding end that tightens that one, if I can. If I can't, it usually means I have hooked one of the other threads, so, which looks like I might have done just there. So we might try from this end. See if I can pull it tight that way. And then I can pull it through that way a bit more. Gotta be careful doing this so you don't rip the pages or break your string. So it looks like it's starting to tighten up nicely. They go up there. They go there. That's still a bit loose in one area there. So now that they're all tied enough, we just tie a double knot. And then I'll leave a bit of a tail because I might end up putting little dangles here, so I'll just leave it long for now and then figure out what length I want it afterwards. So that's the middle. That's the signature sewn in. And then this is the spine so far. So what I will do is go off camera and finish the rest, because as you can see it's quite fiddly and time consuming. And then I will come back on and show you when I've finished it. So now I've finished sewing all the buttons on. So I'll show you. That's the back of that one. Nice and brightly coloured. So it was fiddly, but it's definitely worth the effort, and the more you do, the more you get used to it. So that's that one, and then I've got this Home for a Bunny one, and they're the buttons on the back of that one. So now all the pages are in our two lovely journals. Now I haven't worried about them being completely even here, and they don't come right to the edge of the book either, because I made them all the same width as my beautiful Bo Bunny papers. But what I'm going to do is add some fabric ruffles, maybe some laces, and they will hang out a bit more. So now that I've done that, it's time to get into the fun part, which is embellishing them with all the wonderful embellishments that I have previously made, and some extras that I'm going to make with the awesome products that I got from Aunty Vera. So that's the end for this video. It was just to show you how I put these together, but the next video should be a flip through to show you all the beautiful embellishments in the finished journals. So take care everyone, have fun, be safe, see you later.